Awesome. So I am going to tell you what I have going on in my life real quick. It's going to be a lot of information to throw on somebody, but trying to hurry up and purge so that I can continue to keep moving forward. So I'm going to have to give you this really lot of information, and then I'm sure you'll catch up if you want to. So at the beginning of this year, I started at a job that I was hoping to stay with for a while. I am a serial jobist, so if I don't like the circumstances that my employment is, or that I am putting myself in for the state, for the sacrifice of employment, or my mental stability for the employment, anyway, the atmosphere. If I don't like it, I will leave. This is not necessarily a bad thing, because mental health being as serious as it is, should be. All people hear is like, oh, we can't get anybody to find jobs. Like, oh, actually, there's a bunch of narcissistic people who make other people miserable and they don't want to stay living in that shit. So, anyway, that's what happened. I was teeter-tottering on whether or not I was going to stay at that place of employment. And my rent is income based, and if I were to quit that job, then I wouldn't have had to report that income, because you have to have so many before you can. You have to have verification, and because I was in this state of fight or flight for an extended period of time, I didn't report my income, and for that, I owe them a substantial amount of money, and they've taken it upon themselves to evict me for it. It's only a small portion of what I got going on, but it is a really hard hit to my sacral chakra. Not my sacral, my root chakra. Stability, am I right? So there's that. Earlier this year, I experienced like a really big emotional break where I thought one thing was one way, and there was no way that anybody could tell me one way or another, because that's what I believed, and I believed it so loud in my heart and my head and with every fiber of my being. This is something that I tend to do a lot, that I'm realizing. Being aware of self is key. I'm not Jesus. If you thought I was, haha, you're so funny. But no, not Jesus here. I experienced this big emotional breakdown where I literally felt like I had nothing. Like, I felt like I was a disgrace to everybody who knew me, and no, I do this a lot. To which I had trauma bonded with the nearest person to me who was willing to be there for me, which happened to be another mistake of mine. Moving on. There was 4 months that we were together where I was basically just wasting my time thinking I was so in love, and oh man, those people never really turn out to be who you think that they are. You're just in love with what they want you to see. And it's really sad, because when you break up and you realize that the person that you thought you loved isn't a real person, that's only what they wanted you to think that they were, and it's really sad. But drop them and move it on. I got into some judicial bullshit that I can't discuss, but I was incarcerated last month, and after that, or before I got incarcerated, I planned to leave the job that, or the franchisee. Okay, this is gonna get really complicated because it's still hard to. Anyways, so a franchisee is like a chain of stores, and the franchisee owns all of the stores. When I was having some trouble with my employment, with the atmosphere that I was bringing myself to make commissions, to be getting some income, the circumstances were unfavorable. So after some time, I just dropped it. I was like, you know what, this is how this is. I can't ignore this. I'm leaving. And I was not working for a month and some change. And after some time, during that time, I was recuperating and healing myself from, the trauma that I was putting myself through by going to that place of employment with the circumstances being that the way that it was. And me having to, come to terms with everything and kind of grieve that. I really wanted that to work out, and when it didn't work out, it was detrimental to my soul. I was like, I tried to have a baby. I had this idea that, I was going to be here and I was going to do this and it was going to be great. And Spirit was like, don't get comfortable. You're here to do this. And I was like, but I really wanted to do this. And Spirit was like, that ain't none of your business. And I'm like, well, fuck, I got to cry about it for a month. During that time, I got in touch with management. I reached out to upper management. I was like, hey, can we try a different location? Maybe a different location will be better. Well, it wasn't. It was worse. And I tried again to reach out to employment. Not working out. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to get incarcerated at the end of the month. And I just had it with my boss, and I was like, you know what? I'm putting in my 2 weeks, and that was the last day. And I was like, it is what it is, because, I have been very clear about what I do not like, what is not acceptable, and people are still continuing to push those boundaries and to not give a flying fuck in order for me to not want to be here. So I don't fucking have to be here. So I was like, all right, well, this is how you want to act. This is how I'm going to act. And then I went to go to another job. Got the job. Started my orientation. Got incarcerated. Finished my initiation of the job. I got my eviction notice for to vacate the premises. The day before I lost my job, the new job that I just started, and they're like, it's not gonna be a good fit. And I'm like, you're breaking up with me? So I'm up shit creek, no fucking paddle to be found, and I'm trying desperately to find a job because I don't have a job. The landlord is trying to evict me, and I don't have any income coming in, and talking about getting kicked in the nuts, and and the universe is like, just chill here in your anxiety and shit for a bit, because I got you, and I'm supposed to document the ongoings and the fuckeries that I come across, I suppose. But this is the starting point. I have to be out of here by the 3rd of October, and it is currently the 22nd of September. I went like 3 weeks without being able to find employment. So when I say rivers run dry, like them bitches was dragging. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go to a homeless shelter. And my kids are, I think my son wants to go with his dad, so he's gonna stay with his dad, and my daughter, I think, is going to stay with me, and we're gonna do this. I'm like trying so hard not to overthink anymore, because I've already overthought it to the point where I'm like, all right, well, I've already overthought that to this extent. So once I get to this extent of overthinking about it, I like have to stop myself and be like, okay, calm down, because you can't do anything about that anymore. You still can't do anything about that. You will not be able to do anything about that. And I'm trying to find my peace again. And it's so fucking painful how all of my decisions have led me back to a place where stability is non-existent. And Spirit says something about there's a trauma here about what we think stability is, opposed to having faith in the universe. Like, the way that things have to happen in order for understandings to be made, to be understood, lessons to be taught. There's that what if or what the fuck factor where we can't know. There has to be a question before there can be an answer, and the lesson is understanding the answer. It's fucked up if we think about it, because the question is formed around us, and we're in this bubbling cloud of what the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? Am I right? And the universe is like, good. I wanted you to be like, what the fuck this? What the fuck that? Because now you're talking to me. Now you're trying to listen. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to let you be listening real hard. The universe don't give a fuck about my anxiety, about my constant pins and needles. They don't give a fuck. It's fine, because nothing is getting past me these days. Like, I'm so overanalyzing everything. I feel everything. I feel like fucking Lucy and shit. And there's nothing I can do except yell at my kids and tell them it's time to go to bed. Please lay down. If I have to tell you again, I'm going to turn off the TV.
Oh, we're starving.
Oh my gosh. You already brushed your teeth. It's time for bed. All right. Well, so this is the starting point. I did eventually get a job, so there is some positive factors. For the longest time, it felt like I didn't have a job. I had no idea if I was going to get this job. And I think now it is safe to say that I do have a job now. They gifted me with tools, and I am gonna be making some money bright and shiny, bushy-tailed in the morning, so I am really excited. I feel like I'll be able to have some tangible proof that I am putting effort in, because when there was such a long period where nothing I could do, or I could do nothing, now I finally feel like I have some type of control where I can tangibly witness the effort that I'm putting out. So I am extremely grateful. So trying to have that faith in the universe and whatnot. So I'm gonna be having to go to a freaking homeless shelter for the second time in both of my children's lives. It's embarrassing, and I have to forgive myself. So yeah. All right. Well, see you in the morning.